everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every weekday, we're coming at you live and from Las Vegas, Nevada. We have an amazing show. We have two very special guests. We have Seth from Mind Your Biz and Gary Cardone, the chairman of Node 40, joining us to discuss some of the hottest topics in the cryptocurrency space, including PayPal, Bitcoin market cycles, and amongst other things. But first, here is your other co-host, and his name is Robin. Robin?
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, the entertainment-focused capital of the world and channel. And we take old, boring, and stale information and, well, we repackage that up in a fun and sexy, not boring kind of way. And then I know Bitcoin is flirting with 30,000.
30,000.
There it is. Are we going to be back on top of what?
Back on top. Speaking of being on top, when we talk about companies that deal in networking and IT, the cream of the crop, the top of the top, is Cam's Blue Wire Technology, a channel sponsor. Want to give them a big shout out. If you run a business and you need help maximizing your networking, your IT, and cybersecurity, there's no better company to call than Blue Wire Tech. Visit bluewiretech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. Now, Bitcoin, 29.7. Ethereum, under 1,900. The markets are pumping. We have big news coming out of PayPal. We have big news coming out of Gemini and Ripple. Are they going to list it? We have some of that to speak on. But first, I want to bring on our first guest. He's been on this channel for a while. We love having him on. One of the smartest people in our space. And it's none other than Seth from Mind Your Biz. Seth, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you for the kind words. I think we all know realistically, I'm just a carpetbagger here, and I keep on fooling them, which is why they keep on inviting me back on, audience. So if you do like seeing me on, smash like right now. I want to keep fooling them, so please help me out.
I'm digging the oranges, man. Are you going out after the show today, or what's the plan? I feel like, like beach day, or what's going on?
Yeah, summer's for water sports. I don't care where in the world you are. If it's summer, right? If it's a summer equinox, you got to get out on the water, and that means you got to have clothing that's light, breezy, and easy to take off. So that's the program I'm on today.
We know you very well. I'm actually surprised you joined us with the shirt today. It's a rarity from your camp. So.
It happened once. Anyways. Seth, thank you so much for joining us, man. We're going to get right in, and we start every show. We like to ease everyone into the crypto content by, sharing some laughs together. And, well, we're happy to have you on because we'd like to share some laughs with you as well. So the first thing I have pulled up here is, you ever go to a party with your friends, and then one friend falls asleep and everyone pranks them? Yeah. Some are lewd, some are not. But this is actually, I think, a pretty creative one. Rocco, please, cue my laptop. That's Robin's. Up. What happened? Okay. All right. I guess we got to reconnect the laptop. So, Robin, how's Bitcoin looking?
Well, I do got one myself. Okay, though. Mine's not busted here. So, you have old Greg here has posted. We can't go a day without a little Italian hack here. And so, when reheating pizza, you can turn your toaster sideways, and heat up half a pizza right here in one shot. David, is this how you heat a pizza, or you just go straight cold?
But I'm starting to do that. It's not how I do it yet, but for sure. That's
I never thought about that.
I know exactly why you never thought about that.
Yeah, because you don't do that.
Is this a normal? Is this standard protocol in Italy? Do you toast bread in a toaster in Italy, Rocco, or is it strictly for pizza?
It's strictly coming out of the oven. We don't need to, put a toast in a toaster.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to co-sign this right away. Say, grease fires be damned. Greg is onto something. He's onto something.
I don't know about you guys. Greg's one of the smartest guys I know, and I don't even know him. All right, we should be good.
Okay.
On my video here. So Rocco, please. Oh, that's not mine either.
It's mine again.
That's okay. There we go. All right. So, life hack. You want to prank a friend, but don't want to be a weirdo? Well, this might be a good one. Well, what are they drawing here? Obviously, first thing people think about is drawing organs.
Miss Cardone, can you see me?
Gosh.
Oh man, that was pretty good. Robin's not amused, which I'm not surprised because his personality, all he cares about is birds and food.
No, I think Robin's not amused because he's imagining himself being the subject of this prank, and this could put a serious, I think, probably serious
I'm telling
damper on Robin's personal life.
That is the same as putting the sunblock on somebody when they're sleeping and then like drawing like a face on their back and then just watching the sun burn everything but that spot.
That is a good one too, actually. Guys, we do have breaking news from PayPal. We know they launched their stablecoin. Well, the company might already be over as PayPal now bankrupt after 24 hours paying Ethereum gas fees. Let me ask you real quick, Seth. Are you surprised they went with Ethereum? Do you think it was a right move? We saw rumors that they were planning on launching on Solana, and then the Sam Bankman-Fried stuff happened. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think that a group like PayPal, and I appreciate you asking, I think just on the face of it, a group like PayPal is interested in working with any kind of a blockchain that has a really strong hand in governance and can, and frankly, is decentralized in name only. And it's become an open secret that Ethereum in a post-merge world is decentralized in name only. I think the biggest evidence of this is the number of validators on Ethereum that will not process transactions through Tornado Cash since they were placed on the OFAC list, right? The Treasury Department's OFAC list. And internationally, there are plenty of territories throughout the world where Tornado Cash is considered totally fine. It's considered an okay platform to use. And if you're keeping track of your own transaction logs, your inputs and outputs from Tornado Cash, you're still legally compliant. In fact, if you used Tornado Cash prior to that blacklisting here in the United States, you had to keep track of your inputs and outputs for the IRS anyway. So if you were compliant with IRS tax code, you were compliant regardless of what was going on there. But in a post-OFAC listing world, Ethereum has made it trivial to just say, okay, well, these validators, we're going to give you more support from the Ethereum Foundation and from the Ethereum Core Developer Group if you support these measures by OFAC, right? So I think being able to see that, right, like actions speak louder than words, being able to see that level of control and especially compliance, we'll say, and I'm using that in the dirtiest sense of the word, right? Compliance. I think that emboldened PayPal to say, you know what, Ethereum's not a bad choice. And besides, once we get any crypto onboarded into our ecosystem, they've been the king of order book money transfer for a long time, right? Since they got into the game, right? They do it better than most banks, and they do it better than the SWIFT system. Hate to admit it, but I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. They're really good at helping people move money when they like them and when they think that they're a safe bet. And I think that, for whatever reason, Ethereum is now viewed as a safe bet.
When it comes to security, obviously the base layer is going to be the most secure, right? You know, would you send $500 million through the Lightning Network or through the Bitcoin layer one, right? And so I know that's an extreme measure, but it just goes to show you that if something is very important to you, you're going to choose the base layer. And PayPal is operating, they're sending money. They're sending the value. So it's at its most importance. If you mess up transactions, it's not okay. And so when you look at something like, say, hey, we're gonna partner with some company to aggregate data for whatever the host of reasons are. You can do NFTs. I would just say that like data, for example, is not as sensitive as money, right? I'm not saying it's not important, but when it comes to millions of dollars, it just has to work, like no matter what. And we've seen that big companies have had data breaches, and it's been brushed under the rug, right? And so I think you can have a compromise where you can say, hey, we'd rather have a little bit more speed when it comes to collecting data because we have so much throughput needs. And so for that, we're fine with going with a layer 2. But when it comes to moving money and accounts and transfers, like it has to be as safe as possible, even if it does incur some fees. Now, I mean, Ethereum's roadmap is supposed to address these fees. So perhaps they're looking forward. They're going to take a hit on gas fees right now. And I don't know what their business model looks like. I don't know if they're batching transactions, how they're doing it, but I don't know. I think that's why they went with Ethereum to co-sign on your question there.
Also, got to remember a lot of the liquidity and the money is in Ethereum, and it is what it is. And like Seth mentioned, I think at one point it was 80% of nodes and validators were being OFAC compliant, and if there's a blacklisted wallet address, they weren't validating those transactions. I believe that number has come down, but it's intriguing that they were going to go with Solana, and then, of course, we know what happened with Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, before we bring on our second guest, Mr. Cardone, I do want to get into the crypto markets, but first, our crypto today's segment is brought to you by our second channel sponsor, iTrust Capital. If you plan on hodling, not hodling, hodling Bitcoin, XRP, all the fun cryptocurrencies there, and you don't want to pay taxes in retirement, there's one company to go with, and that is iTrust Capital. If you use the link in the description of this video, you will receive $100 once you fund your account. Now, to take a quick peek at where the markets are, we have BTC coming in at $29,874, up over 2.5% on the 24 hours. Ethereum 1862. And then BNB still holding above $240. That is up 2.2% over the last.
Who do you think is holding that price? Do you think it's
Come on, we know who's holding that price. We know exactly who's holding that price.
It's BNB's on order books.
It rhymes with wash.
Wait, what? XRP at 64 cents. And while we're kind of speaking of XRP, I want to share this tweet. And don't mind the cat, but this is from Gemini. Me, the intern, patiently waiting for Gemini to list XRP. Now, we know as soon as Judge Torres came in with the summary judgment, Coinbase relisted, I believe Kraken relisted, and Gemini came out and said, hey, we're looking into it, but they haven't listed it yet. What are your thoughts? And now, before I ask you guys, let's go ahead and bring in our second guest. He's been on the show before. Robin had to sit down with him in Bitcoin Miami, or was it Consensus, Robin?
Miami.
Actually,
we met up at Consensus too.
Consensus Miami. Yeah. Gary is a wealth of knowledge. Such an amazing person to talk to. And so without further ado, please, Rocco, let's bring him in. Gary, how you doing, my friend? I think your mic might be muted, Gary.
What an amateur. What an amateur. Hey, guys.
You're good, man. Hey,
Happy Tuesday.
We know you're an extremely busy person, so we want to first and foremost thank you so much for joining us again. I know you know Seth from Mind Your Biz. I definitely know Seth knows you. So we're happy to have both of you on today, as I believe we're talking about one of the most important things that's happened in the crypto space over the last year. And Gary, not sure if you caught what we were talking about. We're talking about XRP and how after the summary judgment came down from Judge Torres, we had Coinbase relisted, and Gemini, the other American exchange, the big one, they were kind of hesitant, and now we have an inkling of news that hey, they might relist it. What are your thoughts? Do you think that was enough clarity for these companies, and should they relist it? What are your thoughts in general?
I feel like I'm in the what was that movie that Jack Nicholson made that made him really famous? The Cuckoo's Nest. Like,
yeah.
It feels like we just bounce between sociopathic responses and then psycho. I mean, it's just kind of a weird markets. We're on, we're off, we're on. China cuts it. China's back on. The U.S. cuts it. I don't think these regulators actually know what they're doing or what they're trying to accomplish, and they've got a bear by the tail, because you're seeing like the PayPal. This is going to accelerate now. No one wants to miss this party to basically finance, bank, and take care of customers, which is what 10 or 15 companies have been doing and had a stranglehold on for the last 100 years. So we have a new era of I think financial players. I have been suggesting this for a long time, that Google doesn't need card schemes. Facebook doesn't need them. PayPal doesn't. There's a lot of companies now that are so large that they own the community base, they own the customer, And you got to ask yourself, why would they pay someone else to move funds around for them, whether they're digital or fiat, real or unreal? Why would they pay a large corporation that when that large corporation provides no insurance, no guarantees, no settlement guarantees, no even assurance that they'll have merchant processing tomorrow morning?
Right.
So I think we're going to see a massive, massive shift change in the way the whole value chain works between the merchant or the producer and the ultimate consumer. And that should be really good for the industry, because you're going to take out a lot of middlemen that have been adding no value whatsoever.
Garrett, do you think that fintech is evolving to a place where you're in 5 years from now, perhaps, that you have to have a position in payments in crypto, particularly Bitcoin or stable coins at least? Because I feel like if you're the move from PayPal just signals that, like, hey, your competitors in fintech, anybody that competes with PayPal now has to offer crypto services, right? Now we can look at, this isn't their first move into crypto. They've had Bitcoin before. Now they have their stable coin, but it seems like we've heard Elon Musk talk about he's going to have the financial app essentially, or at least broaden their financial horizon on the social media platform. But I mean, where do you is this genie out of the bottle and now it's just a free market and everyone's going to have to put in a position and they're going to be battling? Or what do you think?
Genie's out, baby. Genie's out. You don't ever put the genie back in the bottle now. Never. Technology and compression of data has changed the whole game. So we're on the digital cliff now, right? Like slowly, and then all of a sudden you just go down the waterfall. I mean, you just get too much volume, and you have, as Bitcoiners have said for years, you have the game theory. I think game theory is kicking in now, both at the corporate level and the government level. People are going to race to this market. It's being blessed. People know it's much bigger than $1 trillion. I mean, like when you look at this, okay, it's $1 trillion. It could go to zero, or it could go to 100 trillion. And I'm pretty sure that nobody's going to want to miss that move.
Do you really think that, Gary? You think it could get to $100 trillion? I mean, that's a massive number. That's 4 times the size of the U.S. Economy.
U.S. economy is not the global economy. See, this is the narcissism and the insular total arrogance of the U.S. Just as a construct. We don't own this industry. We are 12% of this industry. This industry will get along just fine if some idiot walks in here and says all of it's illegal. I think Bitcoin would double in price if the U.S. government said that. Yeah. I don't think the tokens. I'm not a big token trader, as you guys know. I like buying Manhattan real estate, and then when I can't buy any more Manhattan real estate, then I can go and move to another county. And so, my thesis is when I get so much Bitcoin that I'm just, gorging in it, I can always go, spend some time trading some gambling tokens. Look, most of the banks that you and I call banks aren't banks. They're vendors. I think the 100 trillion comes from all the fees that are being paid just to glue and Band-Aid the entire payment rails together. I mean, some of this stuff is running on Fortran, man.
Right.
So, and the problem is think about like whole tribes all around the world have been contributing to solutions in the payment system, and all of a sudden that has to all get unwound. It took Bank of America and First Data 10 years to unwind a joint venture they had. These become so complex that it takes as much time to unwind it. It's a bit like a really, really crazy divorce, right? You just never end with it. By the time those companies unwind their joint venture, that's no longer serving them because the technology was built 20 years ago. They've missed 5 years of evolution. Right. So it's a real conundrum if you have a large position and you can't move very quickly. I think it's a big issue for you. It's going to challenge some boards. I think you'll see boards, almost overnight in the next 2 years, start adding 35-year-old guys to the board because it needs that thought process.
I agree. And I know, and Seth, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on what Gary said as far as the potential size of the crypto market and, $100 trillion. And I mentioned the American economy just to give some context to how massive of a number $100 trillion is. What are your thoughts on that, Seth?
Yeah, no, I love the way that Gary framed it, and his opening rebuttal to your question was that the U.S. economy is not the world's economy. There's a measurement of all of the financial instruments, right, of all of the cash in the world, and when you talk about monetary supply, M1, M2, M3, et cetera, and any number of these measures of the global market of money, right, and of investment could be totally subsumed by cryptocurrency vehicles. Tokenization of assets, it's a real thing. As you all know, I think I need to disclose actually that I work with Emerging Assets Group, where we are tokenizing some assets onto the blockchain. So it doesn't seem like I'm unintentionally pumping my own bags. No, I'm very much intentionally working in that sector because I think that there's a lot that will be tokenized on chain. I absolutely believe everything that Gary mentioned there about there being more and more money and durable assets being tokenized on chain. Whether that looks like token supplies or non-fungible tokens really depends on the nature of the underlying asset. But there's room to run. There is a lot of room for this market to run.
There definitely is. And, everyone mentioned something different: payments, tokenizing real world assets, whether that includes commodities or treasury securities or real estate or whatever the case may be. I do think crypto serves a broader purpose than just speculating on price or a hedge against inflation. And with that being said, I do think, $100 trillion is a big number, but I don't think it's impossible because of so many different sectors and aspects that blockchain and cryptocurrency can disrupt. I do want to go to this Cointelegraph article about PayPal. There's a lot of talk about PayPal, their stablecoins code and what it could do. And I'm happy to have you guys on the panel, and of course, Robin as well. I want to get everyone's opinion, but I'm just going to give some context here. So, of course, if you missed the news, PayPal launched their own stablecoin minted at Paxos. And this is going to be a dollar stablecoin backed by highly liquid assets like cash, treasury securities, and cash equivalents. A couple things I've highlighted here, and then we'll get the panel's opinion. PayPal's new Ethereum-based stablecoin, PYUSD, has been seen as bittersweet news for the crypto community. While it could finally see Ethereum find its place in mainstream adoption, it could also spell trouble for decentralization and personal control of assets, warns the community. Patrick McHenry, which is the chair of the U.S. Committee on Financial Services and is a staunch crypto advocate, said stablecoins like PayPal's PYUSD, quote, hold promise as a pillar of our 21st century payment system. And this is the statement he put out. Several smart contract auditors, however, highlighted that PayPal stablecoins, the smart contract contains freeze funds and wipe frozen fund functions. All right. And here is that code, okay, where people were able to find it from. And this is the beauty of open source, right? Is anyone can go in, anyone can verify, anyone can see what the smart contract entails and what it has in there. So there's no hiding. PayPal will use the controversial functions where necessary. Digital asset lawyer Sarah Hodder believes many characteristics of PayPal stablecoin resemble that of a censorship-enabled central bank digital currency. That is interesting as well. And I do want to highlight that in October, so just 9-10 months ago, PayPal had to backpedal on a $2,500 fine that they were going to levy on people's accounts for spreading, quote, misinformation, which they received a ton of backlash on and had to backtrack on their words. I want to start with you, Robin. What do you make of the whole talk about, oh my God, they can freeze the assets. Oh my God, they can take money out of your account. Is that something that worries you?
I like the point that you put that it's open source and transparent, because this freezing of assets is in our everyday lives and just broader finance. However, at least here we can see it and we understand it, right? And so if you have a company and your company operates in Montana, for example, there might be some statute or law or something hidden there that you might not be aware of that is not easily found in the same regards here with blockchain. Like, hey, we don't need to look at understand the laws and understand how they affect one another. It's all in the source code. It's straight to the point, and it is what it is. And the beauty is if PayPal wants to add it in there, we're all aware of it, right? Because what we've had, in contrast to what we've had before, I don't know. I don't think it's. Can you have a stable coin operate in the financial institutions that we have now and not participate in KYC and any monitoring laws? Not have freezable?
Look, there's always going to be some level of centralization, right? And I do want to, and I'm going to throw it to you, Seth, is, people saying, well, the code in the smart contract allows them to freeze your funds. If I'm not mistaken, Tether and USDC could do the same at any point, correct? And what do you make of this argument? Do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, no, definitely. That's exactly right. So there was a high-profile hack. I'm trying to recall exactly which one it was, but I think
So
it was
many.
the Ronin Bridge hack. Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? I mean, you were talking earlier about move fast and break things. Applies just fine when you're building tech in Silicon Valley for whatever, connecting a social media graph, right? A social connection graph for people. Not so desirable when you're working with people's money, right? Moving fast and breaking things. But it happens in crypto because of these smart contracts and vulnerabilities that were not detected early on. Then a third party detects and they figure, okay, well, it's code. So am I breaking laws by finding this exploit in the code and siphoning some funding off of it? I don't know. This is all actually, for as much as we like to think of it as cut and dried, it's like, no, well, that's a form of fraud. You defrauded people of their their money or their value. But you talk to these programmers and they're like, yeah, no, I'm trying to harden up this code base, and the best way for me to get their attention, the issuer's attention, is for me to do this. So like, go commit some exploit. That's why gray hat. So-called gray hat developer work in crypto has been so popular for so many years. Is that if you prove to a smart contract issuer, no, your code is not totally sound. Let me prove it to you by stealing $90 million or whatever. That tends to get people's attention really, really quickly. Then you put on the white hat and say, let me give a portion of that back. Hey, I did a really good job exploiting your code. Mind paying me? Right. Okay, now let's negotiate, since I hold literally all the cards, right? Holding $90 million of your money, plus I know exactly how to duplicate this exploit that I made. But to answer your original question, Tether and Circle absolutely can do remote freeze and burn. And the reason that it's so obvious that they can do this is after some of these exploits, Tether was really fast to go and remotely freeze the account balance of some of these attackers. Yep. They were actually faster than even Circle Group was. So yes, they've been able to do this for some time.
That's a great point. And Gary, I want to ask you, and this is going to be like a 2-3 part question. And so the first part is, are you surprised that there's ongoing legislation happening with stablecoin, stablecoin issuance and who can issue? And the Congress is talking about this. We know they move their feet slow. Are you surprised that the largest fintech company didn't wait for more clarity? What does it mean that they decided to launch before that happened? And is that going to open the floodgates of, let's say, Apple issues a stablecoin or Google issues a stablecoin? What are your thoughts there?
I'm a little surprised they went this quick, with knowing that the token argument's still out there from the SEC. But I think also you have people are going to want to move fast now, right? So I don't think that it necessarily means they're going to be a winner here. I mean, I am really convinced that Elon's only way out of his $44 billion deal is to become a payments industry, actually. And if I'm PayPal, I'm worried about Twitter more than I am anyone else.
Interesting.
They have the community. Oh my God, man. And I think a lot of people, I think that's a different user too than PayPal. I think it's a digital native user more likely than the old PayPal people. Look, I think this is a jump ball, guys. I think that the disruption here is so massive. I don't even think that none of the native crypto guys understand how big of a tsunami this is. And I don't think any of the indigenous legacy players truly understand the size of this event. We'll only know in about 3 years, but I think in 3 years, I was really interested in listening to one of your guests because he knows all this stuff about security, and I haven't really done any much on the whole wallet and that whole thing, and it's not because I'm an idiot. It's because I think we're going to see a very different wallet solution in the next year or two that makes the wallets that we have today look like the old telephones of the 1980s, that weighed 13 pounds, and we were happy to pay $2,000 for them. I just don't think anyone has the ability to really understand how much change and the pain that's going to bring to the old infrastructure. Some of that being just simply in the mine, and some of it being really complex partnership, large international corporates having partnerships that they can't just simply unwind because PayPal and Twitter have decided to put the entire digital landscape on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't.
Curious.
It could be a little confusing, if you offer too many tokens at one time. It could be confusing to the whole market.
Yeah.
What if they launched what if they approved 9 or 12 ETFs? That's what I would do if I was getting them. I'd just approve them all.
Yeah.
We actually have
Saturate
a
the
video.
market.
We have a video we're going to share a little bit later. Kathy Wood was speaking on that, and that's exactly what she said. Is I think once they approve one, they're going to approve a lot of them. Robin,
Yeah.
I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I would I don't think there's been a lot of discussion, at least I haven't seen it on the social media channels or even mainstream media, the liability of having this stablecoin. When it was Meta, formerly known as Facebook, and their Diem token, it was Congress stood up and pushed back on it. The crypto community pushed back on it. It was like almost poisonous, right?
So what does that tell you now, Robin?
And that it shows that the environment has changed. That the concept of a large company issuing a stable coin is not a big deal anymore, and that's how we got here. I mean, one of the pressing talking points that we're going to have in the next presidential campaign will be crypto. Bitcoin will be there. It was not spoken of. It was not a topic. It was not a question in the last election. And here, 4 years later, it will be an issue. It is already being brought up by all of the candidates that are actively running, with the exception of Joe Biden. I mean, we can say that his coffee cup laser, I think, could be it, but realistically, it was probably something else. But and then on top of that, we're seeing that Elon Musk is we're just loosely accepting the fact that he's going to integrate payments, and nobody's asking how. Nobody's asking should he. And I think this is a foregone conclusion. And like this morning, my whole feed is nothing but payments from Twitter to the content creators. And so we're already just starting to get people numb to the fact that, hey, this is a business. We move money. Look, we're paying the creators. Come, pay $8. Have your account verified. We'll pay you for it. Oh, by the way, you can tip also on Bitcoin. And hey, you can now buy crypto and stocks on our platform. Send money. You know what? Actually, why don't we launch a checking account here too? But you know what? Don't even bother with the banks, and you can direct deposit into your account. That's where we're going, and it's a little fluff piece right now. It doesn't seem that intrusive right now, and I think that's where we're going at a crazy fast speed right now.
Yeah. Hey guys, I've got a little something extra to throw into the mix here. Gary paid me a compliment, and it got me emboldened. Right? He said, "Hey, your security tech guy here." So while we were talking, I just decided, as one does, to hit up the OpenAI API and get ChatGPT working for me. I never want to work for AI. I want AI to work for me. And I got it to audit the smart contract for Tether. If PayPal is going to use similar smart contract code to what Tether has done, there is a teeny tiny usage fee in Tether. USDC does not have this, by the way. The way that they're monetized is they're sort of very chummy with regulators and with various nation state actors, right, and three-letter agencies. So they share information, and I'm sure that they've got some kind of compensation worked out back end that way. Tether just charges a fee. Good old-fashioned cash flow business, right? We make a really great product, you pay a tiny amount to use it, and we add a lot of value, which is why they're the most heavily traded stablecoin. But as things are right now, based on their trading fee on a given month, any given month with their current average daily volume, they are pulling down almost $70 million every month in passive fees alone. That's what Tether's take is. That's no other associated businesses, no other LPs, not their treasury, nothing else. That's pure revenue from just using the token. If people never change the way they use the Tether stablecoin, Tether will continue to earn $70 million every single month, day in, day out, clockwork, passively, never lifting another finger on improving code, stopping hacks, nothing. PayPal has to be aware of this. They can't be ignorant to this. And, they got here first. Like Gary said, they were the behemoth, and they're rightfully concerned by somebody like Elon talking about getting into their business with Twitter, with X app, so to speak. But they've got to be looking at this with the tokenomics side, saying, okay, we can't lose. If we keep people on our platform using the order books, it's essentially a black box. We can assess whatever maker taker fees we want out of those markets. We can arbitrage the snot out of that. But we also win when people take these coins and bring them out of our little playground, out of our little sandbox, onto Ethereum, because there's this now long track record, almost 10 years on the books. You asked earlier, why did they choose Ethereum? I think it's because Tether has proven this use case over almost 10 years on Ethereum and said, hey, we're printing money. It's just printing money passively, doing nothing. The smart contract locked in for years, doing nothing but printing money. So PayPal's got to be they got to be looking at that with dollar signs in their eyes.
Gary brought up Twitter and how big it is. I do want to note PayPal has over close to 550 million users. Twitter's at about 363, and so they're both behemoths. But and I'm sure everyone on this panel would agree that competition is great, right? In my opinion, competition breeds excellence, drives fees down, makes user experience a lot better. But I want to ask you guys this question, and we do have a poll up in the chat. So if you're watching, make sure to cast your vote. Is the PayPal stablecoin good for crypto adoption? A lot of people are saying this is an attack on Bitcoin. It's an attack on the ethos of crypto, on decentralization. Is the launch of this stablecoin good for the space? If yes, why? And whoever wants to go first can go. Gary, you can go first.
Thanks. First off, let's go back to the $100 trillion industry that I mentioned. I meant to bring this up earlier. I'm not suggesting that just the coin is worth $100 trillion. I am suggesting, and I think the PayPal and the Twitter conversation is really relevant. Like, these are now going to be new income streams for these companies, right? It's going to fit into their own strategy. But imagine now if PayPal or the Tether making the $70 million is able to do that. If you're a financial house like WorldPay FIS, we say that Elon paid too much for Twitter, $44 billion, but WorldPay and FIS spent, I think, about $25 billion combining a bunch of companies over the last 7 years. And now they've just split the companies. So the consulting firm's getting a double dip at this. Now the mergers didn't work. The revenue there wasn't new revenue. They took an $11 billion write-off to demerge. And here's a company making $70 million a month. That's $840 million a year. And most of it's going to be EBITDA, because it's just like clicking a tollway and there's no infrastructure costs. So I think this is going to put a tremendous amount of pressure. I mean, if you start looking at this as an investor and you're in the private equity world or the stock world, why are you going to buy some old raggedy stock called FIS or WorldPay that's making fees by charging like tons of little, invoicing trips? Their revenue is not expanding, and then you got 3 or 4 super companies that are basically issuing their own gift cards. You call them tokens. I call them gift cards, loyalty points. That's what these tokens are, right? It's trap the player into PayPal. Like PayPal will have me down as a user. I never, ever use PayPal. Okay, ever. So I would, however, use Twitter. I don't know why that's different, but I think that tool will be very different. And now to your question, and I'll be quiet and make a lot of space for the other people. I think this is a wrong question to ask, with all due respect. I think this conversation about, hey, is this good or bad for Bitcoin? If Bitcoin's the badass gorilla King Kong God product that everyone says it is, it will have to put up with competition. And it will, by its very nature, if everyone's right, it will prove its place in the value chain at the very top of the food chain. And the other ones will suffer and die. Or we're all wrong, and Bitcoin's really not the God play that we think it is. And it'll only have a little piece of market share, and somebody will come up with a great solution. So I don't think that it's going to hurt us. It's going to make us stronger. And the products that come from this revolution will just change the way we live our lives, right? And they're going to be winners and losers.
Yeah, I just think just to expand on where we're at, I think we've turned a corner, and I think that the fact that there's just no pushback on PayPal just shows you that this is now the direction that companies are going. I always knew that crypto adoption would be here, but at the same time, I was always cognitive of fintech and their ability to create products that compete, but fintech is moving too slow. It took them way too long to get Venmo working or to have market adoption. And we're seeing that crypto moves at scale extremely fast without compromising a centralization, without giving up too much power to centralized authorities like governments, for example. And it's just private money. Private money is moving faster than the traditional money that we had, whether it's fiat or central banks and the traditional banking system. And I think that the PayPal move has really just cemented that, because I always called into question, hey, will the banks see what's happening and will they offer a product that is not blockchain that competes directly with it? Because I thought that was always a possibility. Hey, they're moving money pretty quickly at a lot cheaper than we're doing now. And so let's offer our own product. That's kind of what the Fed Now was, right? The Fed Now was like, hey, you don't have to wait 3 days for settlement. We can do it faster. I thought that was going to roll out quicker. And I'm just seeing now that, hey, PayPal just launched their own stablecoin. Nobody's even causing a fuss. There's going to be other competitors that are going to compete with that. And so now I am 100% convinced that we are not going back to traditional finance when it comes to payments, or at least it doesn't seem that way. And so, yeah, that's...
I think everyone made good points. And, Gary, the reason I asked the question I asked is because, the narrative on social media is, hey, this is a Trojan horse to take over the industry, right? To, like the article said, a CBDC. And so a lot of people are worried that, hey, you start getting these large companies coming in here, it's going to not only disrupt, but potentially ruin kind of where we're headed. And so I don't think that's the case. I do think it's open source technology. The whole point of being open source is anyone can build on it. And like I said, as long as the crypto native companies, the Tethers, the USDCs, the Coinbase, as long as they're all playing on an even playing field, I think it's great. Bring on the banks, bring on more companies, let the cream rise to the top. It's a free market, so the consumer will choose who the winners are. And it's like you throw two fighters in the ring, and whoever prepared more and whoever has the biggest punch is going to win. And it is what it is, whether you like it or not. If that's the banks, then we know who to point the finger to.
Your analogy on fighters
disagree.
makes a lot of sense, because you can have different weight classes, right? Bitcoin could be the heavyweight; it could be in its own class, and you're gonna have UFC and boxing and kickboxing, and I think that there's enough room in this playground for everybody to be successful. I think that Bitcoin has its value. It is the most secure digital asset. It's a comparable to digital gold. And then you have payments that need to move faster. I think there are technologies that are going to evolve. Maybe it's the XRPs and the tethers, or maybe it's a new product that has not come out forth yet, or maybe it's a banking service that offers their own stablecoin. I don't know, but I think that the idea that we're going to have a winner take all is not realistic in this space. And so Bitcoin's going to do its thing, and so is everyone else.
Yeah. And I did close the poll.
I disagree on some level here.
Go ahead.
Apologies for that, but I've got to voice my dissent.
Please
I'm
go.
going to say it this way, as respectfully as possible, Robin, since we're sharing the screen here. You're wrong.
Tell him.
Yeah, here's why I take that stance. You talk about there being, like, again, the fight analogy is really great because you're talking about, maybe Queensberry rules, right? You talked about maybe a boxing event, MMA, even UFC has their own unique rules for MMA. Plenty of pit fights that we've all seen, right? If you've been around since before UFC hit mainstream, and you remember the pit fights the way they used to be, a lot more like an open bare knuckle street fight. Very different, right? Rest in peace, Kimbo Slice. But that guy did it like nobody else did it, right? These street fighters. Very, very different rules, no holds barred, including certain, chokes and things that you wouldn't expect. That is dangerous freedom versus the tightly regulated, highly, in some cases, over-regulated and over-policed areas that the banks operate in. I mean, we talk about the travel rule being something that federally backed banks, right, and that retail banks here in the United States have to observe. I mean, that's $10,000. They're absolutely required to record your purpose for withdrawing your own money. Seems silly, but those are just the rules they have to abide by. The next time you want to transfer $10,000 plus worth of Bitcoin, the CEO of Bitcoin is not going to ask you why you're transferring it, ever. Not. I can guarantee you. And I know it's weird. People
bold statement.
How dare you? I know, dude. Right? Here's the thing, man. Me and Satoshi were homies. He just told me straight up. He's like, "Look, Seth, I'm not gonna email you if you send 10,000 plus." So, I mean, and I appreciate that. Good job looking out, Satoshi. You're the bomb. So there's so many other little areas in which this is true, where dangerous freedom is attractive to certain people, especially as it comes to money. Maybe not long-term investments, but as it comes to money, people want dangerous freedom. We like cash here in the United States, right? When's the last time you got a cash discount, right, for making a large purchase? That, right? I mean, one simple trick will get you sometimes 10, 20% off of a deal, just buying cash outright. Right. And I don't even just mean the bare asset of notes, right? Bills. I mean, just telling somebody I'm going to buy in lump sum. So these are things that crypto can do, that there's a certain attractive sexiness to crypto being that dangerous freedom of being more like a bearer asset and more like cash than all of the other tightly regulated on-ramps, off-ramps, and vehicles.
Gary, do you have anything to add to what Seth said? Oh, you're on mute, Gary. Your mic is muted.
Turned off the video and the camera and the microphone.
We're good.
I think that look, there has to be some losses here. Okay, not everybody's going to win this game. There are going to be some colossal failures, and it's not just going to be these Ponzi schemes. I think you're going to start seeing some legacy players just break apart. If you think about, hey, what is PayPal doing? What is Twitter going to do? What is Google going to do? This game doesn't stop just issuing a coin now. Right. This game stops with erasing all of the middlemen in the food chain. Like that's see, this is what has been my frustration with this community is that, and with just a tremendous amount of respect also, right? Like, you are undermining 300 years of banking and jobs and thought process and relationships. And when markets are this old, they stop being competitive a long time ago. They're a club. Okay. They all compete for the same dollars, but not really. They're all offering about the same interest rate. I mean, it's all the same scam, right? You just have to be just about as good as the next guy, and that's how you're judged. If we're introducing 100, companies that are just showing up on the landscape out of 100 years, like Google and some of these other firms, which, by the way, these companies did not build most anything they have.
Right.
They bought it all. And the problem with the legacy guys is that when they buy something, they destroy it because their cultures don't let that entity, really grow on its own. It's got to be a part of the big bus, if you will, the big military operation. And then, therefore, it's not allowed to really grow like a proper startup. I think it's going to be awesome, man. Like, I'm not worried about getting hurt because I'm not carrying a lot of baggage in this industry. I still am a big believer in Bitcoin because I think we're going to have a lot of failures here. I don't think Bitcoin's going to be one of them. Yeah. To the Trojan horse comment, I think all of these are Trojan horses, dude. COVID-19, Trojan fucking horse. Ukraine, Trojan fucking horse. They are literally trying all this stuff about Trump. Trump's never going to courtroom. And neither is Biden. That will not happen. This is a diversion. It's just another singing naked chick that everybody's looking at on YouTube instead of paying attention to what's really going on. Okay, they're trying to enslave us some more. So the system's breaking apart. It always breaks apart. Like, this is part of the empire burning its fucking doors to the ground. They don't ever acknowledge it's happening. It's the outsiders. It's the villagers going, whoa, dude, you guys are crazy. Right. Okay, these people are crazy now. Okay, we have reached crazy critical point. And that's when brilliant new solutions show up to the table and they become the genie in the bottle. Like they're doing our job for us. We just got to just keep throwing them the Kool-Aid, let them freaking go to the ends of the earth. All this transvestite stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, man, y'all have some more parades. You should have parades every day. Okay, have more parades, shoot more people because somebody said something to you bad in the bathroom. And at some point, the world's going to go, whoa, we're being taken advantage of everywhere. Our news I don't even watch news anymore. I am more informed than 99.9% of the people I know, and I haven't watched news in over 2 years. Will not turn CNN. So these companies have lost their gravitas, man. And their entire population of consumers. I mean, you look at the numbers of these companies, they're not, you and I the four of us could entertain more people than CNN does right now, if we really wanted to. Hey, let's go beat CNN's numbers. I guarantee you, 1 month we beat their numbers. Look, I see everybody going, oh yeah.
Did I just hear a business proposal?
Yeah.
Dude, let's do it, dude.
We're in.
I like it. If I could block some of
send the paperwork.
Well, we bring entertainment too, and to levy your point there, in case you guys forgot, how many lives were saved by doing this? I'll just leave it at that. So there you go.
Wow. Well, that would not happen anyways, even if the trash bags were not over there. Gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for joining us.
This was a good conversation.
This was a really good conversation.
We need to do this again. Can we get the four of us together again?
Yeah, that was, I think it's important to have these conversations. We talk about price and the charts and this, and that's all great. And, I believe there's a segment of that too. But I think conversations like this are equally, if not more important, especially when we're at the ground level of such a burgeoning technology. And, people just don't know. And we have people smarter than me, smarter than Robin, smarter than Gary, smarter than Seth. And we all need to come together and really educate people and make them understand that what an opportunity we have by being in this space at the ground level. And to have leaders like you guys speaking out and educating, I think is great. You're doing the space a great service. So with that being said, Seth, we're going to let you go first, my friend. Anything you want to add? Where can people find you if they want more Mind Your Biz?
Yeah, no, appreciate you having me back on. Always a pleasure, of course. Great getting to share a panel with Gary. Huge fan of Gary's work. And obviously, you guys know every time I stop in town in Las Vegas, I tell you face to face how much I appreciate your work. So
That is a
thanks for
fact,
doing what
man.
you
And
do.
you know,
Yeah.
you do visit us pretty much every time you're here, and we appreciate that, my friend. And we appreciate the wealth of knowledge you have. Where can people find you if they want more, Seth?
Mindyour.biz. That's the website. Sign up for the newsletter. And of course, check me out on YouTube. I publish with a semi-regular cadence, not daily, but I publish often enough that I promise it will be worth the sub. So thank you for that in advance.
And what I will say about Seth is he's very smart, but he's able to communicate that to people who might not have the same knowledge level as he does. And so, Seth, we love and appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you on again. Take care.
Thank you.
And Mr. Cardone, you know, you are the better looking brother. You 100%, without a question. I mean, I haven't met you in person yet. Robin has. I look forward to meeting you in person. You have any Vegas trips lined up anytime soon?
You know, you guys just you need to invite me because Vegas is one of my favorite places in the whole world.
Gary,
it doesn't
please come visit us.
We're extending the invite.
We're extending an invite. We got a red couch in studio.
I
Rob,
like
Rob has a couple spare rooms. We're ready.
Yeah, we'll have to get. I got a place I stay at there. It's called the Encore, but
Okay.
We'll have to get Seth out there too and do some damage to each other. That'll be fun.
I
Look, I think this is a life-changing experience. Anybody that's in this space, I gave a speech Saturday night, and you know, we talk about front running the banks and big investors into this space, right? I think actually the biggest front run is that if I'm right and the industry's $100 trillion opportunity for the next 20 years, this space allows for people, you don't have to invest in Bitcoin or Avi or anything else. You can get a job in this industry, okay? You can get a job being a secretary, an assistant, an analyst, a coder. There are 1,000 different things to do. And the cool thing is, no one needs any prior experience. You can learn this career on the go. And if that isn't a tremendous opportunity, we'll employ millions of people from the age of 18 years old to 80 who want to be in this space. You don't need to understand anything about this space. It will be taught to you. Yeah. I don't remember an experience or an opportunity like this ever in my entire life. So how could you not be excited about it? There'll be some losers and winners, and as there is in life always.
That says a lot coming from someone with your knowledge and experience. And guys, to what Gary said, I think this thing transcends age. It transcends politics. It transcends, I would argue, like Gary said, even knowledge, right? It's something that there's certain things where you don't get a say, right? I don't get a say if I want my Chase card to be a Visa or a MasterCard. You're not going to have a say if you want to purchase real estate maybe in the future, if it's going to be on the blockchain or not. And I think that's where we're headed. And so if you're watching, you're at the right place at the right time. Speaking of the right place,
I'll say that you one last thing, just to co-sign on that, on those points, is that this is the first time we're going from government issued currency and wealth to private. And you have companies that are all vying for a piece of that pie. And it's not going back. And will government issued currency go away in entirety? I don't think so. But at least they're losing that monopoly, and find out who's going to be the winner in that sector. So,
guys, I would highly, highly recommend you go follow Gary on Twitter at Gary Cardone. If you want to keep up with what Gary is doing and how he's helping influence our space. And with that being said, Gary, again, thank you so much. We know your time is extremely valuable. We really enjoy having you on here. These are great conversations. And we definitely look forward to bringing you on again. And we look forward to hosting you here in Vegas, man. Go have some dinner, grab some cigars, hang out. Just let us know when, and we will be there.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, great show. Appreciate all of you. Really
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
take care.
Ciao.
All right. I didn't get a chance to give a shout out to the chat. So just real quick, a little love to you guys. If you are new here, say hello before we sign off. We'd love to give you a shout out or hola back at you. We do have EJ or IJ, Howard S, Greg Norwalk, I'm a Girl, Angry Sack Magic, Block Connect, David Motts, Woods Galore, RPM, Pokey Vibes, Crypto Bat back again, Kevin B, Charlie Gee, and El Prufe Manuel Rosa. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Great show today, man.
Digging the names. Yeah, great show, great conversation. Guys, make sure to like the video on your way out.
We need more of what happened today.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah.
Guys, speaking of good conversations, I want to conversate to you about channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business stay relevant, stay efficient, visit bluewiretech.com. So big thank you to them. Also, go follow us on social media. We're very active on Twitter at Sin City Crypto 1. Go support our guests. Go follow them as well. And that's all I got. Oh, I will be on Frankie Candles in about 2.5 hours. So come join us. Last time I was on there, such an amazing conversation. Frankie is one of my favorite people in our space, such a genuinely amazing person. So come support Frankie Candles. Come support me. Also, we will right after that. I will be on a Twitter Spaces with Garrett Soloway. So we're expanding our voices. We're educating people. We're expanding our brand. So we want you there for the ride. And with that being said, Rocco. Again, big thank you to our two guests. What an amazing show today. Also, big thank you to Rocco for the production. Big thank you to you. Come back tomorrow, same place, same time. Until then,
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the